Hi, 94.9 The Rock.
Matt, it's Dee.
Dee, thank you so much for taking the time today, man.
Thank you for taking a shot at playing the record.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get right to it. Dee Snider joins me on the phone. It's 94.9 The Rock. I'll be honest, how we ended up chatting with each other online is through, like, I guess, a super fan, this guy, Monkeyballs66 at Twitter. And he put us on to your record, your brand new record, For the Love of Metal, and you chimed in. I can't tell you how surprised we were when you yourself chimed in.
Well, yeah, first of all, can we say Monkeyballs66 on the radio?
It's Canada. Yeah, so. We're a lot more liberal up here. We're Canadian.
It's a clinical term.
Yeah.
But, this fan who's just been championing my new album, For the Love of Metal, apparently he was reaching out to another station that he was a listener to, and they did not respond in any way. And I actually joined in the fray there, and I said, "Hey, what's going on, man? You don't even answer your fans. That's what social media is all about." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna find a new station to show my love to," and he turned to yours, and you immediately responded and said, "Hey, man, we'll give it a listen. I can't guarantee anything." And I just said, "You know what?" And I jumped in and said, no one can ask for more than that.
Yeah.
Just a response, and you listened, and that was really cool.
Well, we were happy to do it. I mean, it's such a different world, the radio broadcast. Like, you have so many facets of interests. I don't even know where to start with you. You're the first the first artist I've ever been to their page, and you get like concert dates and, pictures, and you have an endeavors page. And I just think... I've never seen endeavors on a rock and roll page, and I loved it. At what point in your career did you realize, I got to diversify?
I believe it was the day the music died when the Nirvana album came out. and I received the memo, "We're not doing what you do anymore." A little known fact, the entire hair metal community got an email that said, "Yeah, we're not doing what you do."
Yeah, we're done.
And I wrote back, I go, "What do you mean by that?" They go, "Well, how you sing, how you write, how you perform, how you act, everything you do, we don't do that anymore." And it was like, uh-oh. Like, what do you do now when they stop doing what you do your whole life? It was crazy.
I'm sure, and it was a cultural shift, like 91, and everything changed. Gone was the makeup and the hair, and it was a change across the board. And so you found yourself going, all right, well, what the hell now? I'm not that guy. Like, you're not gonna try to rewrite the music that you write. So you end up going
in. And you're not gonna, and look, I was married, I had 3 kids. The money ran out. Let me tell you, you can make millions if you spend it like a rock star. It runs out, and it was like, well, what now? So I started scrambling, and as you know, I went into voiceover, I went into radio, I write TV, movies. I started doing everything and anything. Been on Broadway. So I mean, I've done a lot of different things, but For the Love of Metal, I've gone full circle, and I'm literally back in the charts again. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. So tell me about Napalm Records, because if you're a broadcaster, like, there are certain machines that happen behind music, and it's a little different in the States, but in Canada it's the same thing. Usually a smaller record label might hire a radio promotions company, and there's no representation for Napalm Records in Canada except for Monkeyballs666. But it must feel great to know that you got people out there doing it. But Napalm Records is a European label, right?
They're out of Germany. This is a Field of Dreams record.
Yeah.
For the Love of Metal started with a challenge from Hatebreed lead singer Jamie Josta, who in the States was on Headbangers Ball host for a while. I don't know if you got Headbangers Ball up there.
Yeah.
And he challenged me to do a contemporary metal record, and I accepted the challenge, but we had no record deal. We had no budget. It was nothing, and that's why the album's called For the Love of Metal, because Jamie and his friends and people from Disturbed and Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage, all these metal people came in to the studio, and everybody just started working in our spare time on this passion project. And then when it was done, every metal label in the world wanted it. But now the caveat is metal label.
Right.
It's not the big bat of the old, Atlantic and WEA and Elektra and all these big, Columbia, these big labels. It's an indie label.
Yeah.
So we put the record out there, but I entered the charts at number 20 on Billboard back for the first time in over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've been one of the #1 metal albums in the world since the record came out. And I'm not talking about the hair metal albums. I'm talking about metal. So it's crazy that this Field of Dreams record has reacted. And but again, Jamie's a fan. And he took it upon himself to make this happen. Monkey Ball 666 is a fan. And I've always had the fans have my back, and they've hey, if it's not being promoted enough, they'll promote it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just going to say that. It sounds like most of the guys who worked on the album with you were fans. They grew up. You've been an influence on them. So I imagine it was nothing. It was important to them to donate their time to something like this.
I was stunned. Look, I'm an egomaniac and I'm a narcissist. It's actually in the resume requirements for a frontman.
Yeah.
Okay? But not so much that, 30 years later, we're Twisted, 35 years and Stay Hungry. And not so much that I think that, everybody's just waiting to play on a Dee Snider record. I didn't expect that. And the outpouring, it was touching. God, that's not a metal word, but it was.
Yeah.
I was stunned.
It's okay. You can evolve, right? A metal guy could say something was touching. We live in a new world. It's good.
Not me grabbing people and roping. No, well, just touching.
Fair enough.
Touching. Yes.
That's another story, right? Especially, I don't want to get into that. What do you? We could go on for hours on that. But what do you think of the state of metal? Like, I was going to ask you about rock and roll, but you brought it up. Like, what do you think of the state of metal these days?
Well, I've been you've got these people out there who, rock and roll is dead, or should I say, let me tell you something. Rock and roll is dead, and I wouldn't pick up a guitar if I were you. Gene Simmons famously said rock and roll is dead.
Yeah.
And I famously argued back and said, obviously, you're not in tune. Obviously, you're not headed out to the clubs. You're not going to the small theaters or the alt festivals. There's a passion out there. There's great music out there, but it's not receiving the attention that it used to receive. Things are very, very target marketed, social media marketed these days. They know the record companies know how to reach out to the specific fan. But my kids are all metalheads. They're all grown, but they've taken me to metal shows throughout the last 3 decades, and I've been in touch, and I see that the passion is still there. But I'm kind of feeling in a way that I'm getting to be a voice for the community, since I am OG metalhead.
Yes, you are.
And and with For the Love of Metal, I'm making some kind of statement that people of all ages are getting behind and saying, "Yeah, thank you, Dee, for standing up and shouting it loud and proud."
As they should be. You're right. What happens, I think radio play is still very important for music, but with all these other ways for people to receive and to engage with music, it's just part of the pie now. But that being said, radio is still important to the point where you're reaching out directly to with people, and I think that says something. First of all, about your background and who you are. How has the machine changed? I mean, we're talking 35 years, but the machine must have changed so much for you.
I couldn't do this without Jamie Josta because I don't get it. Yeah. I've got my oldest son has been a struggling, singer and songwriter for years, and he keeps turning to me. He goes, "Dad," and I'm going, "I don't know." It's a different animal right now, and like you said, radio. Look, I'm a radio guy. I've been doing radio for over 25 years now. That's what my life after rock and roll places.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is part of a bigger picture, and there's other elements. But as you saw, from the social media, which is a way of reaching fans now, the fans reach out to radio.
Yeah.
So it's all part of it takes a village. Well, it takes a lot more than it used to back in the old days. Yeah,
well, it's funny, you're a radio guy. So now what's happening is we're sitting here and we're kind of chasing our own tail. It's like, we'll add that record when it gets some streaming numbers, but streaming numbers don't go up until it gets on the radio. It's crazy.
It's always been a catch-22, you know, in every business, and it's plagued the artists all along. But you know, just the way it is, you know, they want to see some evidence. We want to see signs of life. Yeah, but if you don't promote it, how am I going to get signs of life?
Exactly.
Somehow it's supposed to miraculously survive on its own, and then it gets the love. But that's just, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it's so much harder now. No, it was incredibly hard back in the day. I mean, anybody who's seen the Twisted documentary, We Are Twisted Blanking Sister, knows it took 10 years, 10, for Twisted Sister to get to that we're not going to take it moment. And that's, you know, it was brutal. And now it's brutal, too. That's you know, creators have always had to fight a fight to get recognized.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Exactly.
So now, I mean, the big way to make money now, everybody's all about touring. Is this something that's on your radar?
You know, this, as I said, was a Field of Dreams record. You know, the title For the Love of Metal isn't accidental.
Yeah.
We went in with no budget, no record deal. A bunch of metal fans of mine went into the studio in our spare time, and we created this record that wound up, you know, now it's making waves, you know, which is great. But as you well know, usually it's like, okay, we signed a deal, this is when we'll record the album, this is the album release, this is when the tour starts. It's a grand plan.
Yep.
But with no record deal and no budget, we didn't know what was happening, so nobody was making any plans.
Right.
Well, the thing came out and surprised everybody. So I've been doing shows, a handful of shows here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm very much, as we see, Dee Snider has found his voice. He's found his place in the community today. We're already gearing up for the follow-up album. We're going to start recording this winter. You will see more and more touring from me, more and more dates, and yes, I will be, you know, coming back to the Great White North. I'll be to Canada, without a doubt. That'd
be amazing, man. That'd be so great. And you know, I love. Well, you can tell you've spent the last 25 years in broadcast, and you're never afraid to tell it like it is, and be upfront and honest. And I know the next album will be the same way. When you do finally tour, man, you got to come see us. Okay, we really appreciate it.
Well, now that we've established a relationship here, and it's not difficult.
No, it's not. Was it? It was amazing.
Difficult.
No, it's not.
You know, it was. You showed a little love to me, and I'm ready to heap love on you guys.
Dee, we totally appreciate it, my friend. And I see you're going off to a Comic-Con this weekend. Good luck with that, or a Horror-Con, not a Comic-Con.
I do so many things. You know, I mean, like my next big move. Oh, I've got a show in Mexico, a big metal show in Mexico.
Oh, cool.
And they're doing 2 more videos for the album. But then there's something going on in the States called Rocktopia. I don't know if you've heard of it yet up north, but it will be coming, and that's this classical and classic rock mashup with opera singers, Broadway singers, and me as a rock singer. And I'm joining them for a week of shows, but that's going to be expanding. So that's something else that I'm involved in.
We will definitely
That's another endeavor.
Exactly. All your endeavors, man. I loved it. I was like, endeavors? How sophisticated. Dee, thank you very much. DeeSnider.com. You've got the I Want to Talk podcast. You got the radio show. You got the album, of course, which is what we're talking about, For the Love of Metal. Thank you very much. You can please give us, you know, anytime you got anything you want to promote or talk about, we'd love to have you back.
And Bob, I just want to thank you at 94.9, you know, The Rock. I don't know if you're a 0.9 or 9.
No, we're just, look at you. You're such a radio guy. You know it. It's 94. Yeah, it's 94.9 The Rock. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for just being supportive and responding to your fans. I mean, you know, like I said, this is why you guys have the following you have, because you're responsive to the community. You can't ignore the people who are tuning into your radio station. That's the biggest mistake many stations make. It's so freaking on autopilot now. Yeah. It's so pre-taped, pre-recorded, pre-everything. You know, there's not even air personnel at home, and they're unresponsive to the community. And this is why radio stations get hurt, but not 94.9 The Rock.
Thank you very much. Everybody in the GTA, thanks you very much, the Greater Toronto area. And please come up north soon.
I will. Thanks
Cheers.
for the support, man.
Cheers, D. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.